Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Pensar Basketball Live, and we are going to be doing a little bit of a film breakdown for the Toronto Raptors versus Dallas Mavericks. It was one of the most interesting games I have ever seen in my life. You may not believe that from having watched it, but the cool thing about sports is sometimes it's so fast that you got to slow it down. Okay, that's just the truth of it, right? I mean, these athletes are buzzing. If you've ever sat courtside, things are happening so fast. There's sometimes 35 things that happen in the succession of 24 seconds. And to be honest, most people just watch the ball. Most people watch the ball. If it goes in, it's a great thing. If it doesn't go in, it's not a great thing. Sometimes the truth is that you can play horrible defense and the opponent just misses. And sometimes you play terrible offense and the ball goes in the hoop. So this is why we do these film breakdowns, because at the end of the day, what we are concerned about is process. Now, I want to give a quick thing. I want to just quickly mention this. I did do a Scottie Barnes video yesterday. If you haven't checked it out, please do check it out. Please give this video a like if you're, watching this live. I'll try to be a little bit more interactive than I usually am, answer questions as we're going through. Got about 15 minutes of film. The first minute of it is just hilarious takes. There are a lot of things we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about what went well for the Raptors on offense, because there's a lot of good things that happened for the Raptors on offense. We're going to talk about what went badly for the Raptors on offense. Cheat sheet. It's a lot of Chris Boucher, unfortunately. We're going to talk about what went good for the Raptors on defense. Cheat sheet. It's a lot of Scottie Barnes and Otto Porter and Gary Trent Jr. and Malachi Flynn. And we're going to talk about what went very poorly for the Raptors. And if you're a Pascal Siakam fan, it's a lot of Pascal Siakam. We're going to talk about offensive process, defensive process. We're going to talk about Luka Doncic being one of the worst defenders I think I've ever seen in my life. And we'll certainly get to a couple of funny tweets or interesting tweets and stats. Yeah, let's hit the intro and make sure to hit like on this video on your way in. This is going to be a fun one. All right. Oh, also to anyone who caught the post game yesterday, I'm sorry. I was like half asleep. So to anyone who sat through that, and I hope it was entertaining, man. I hope it was, but I was dying yesterday. So thanks for putting up with that. I'll try to be a little bit more energetic today. All right. Okay, let's get to this. Okay, so the previous film breakdown that I did, I took about 3 hours or 2.5 hours to break down 3 minutes of game film. If I go at that pace, this is going to be a 9-hour live. So I'm going to be a lot faster today. I think, I hope, I pray that I will be faster today. And let's see if we can get through this. Now, let's get to a couple of tweets that we sent out. The first, Pascal Siakam post-game, a very interesting post-game presser. We couldn't load it yesterday because the Toronto Raptors YouTube account forgot to load the right video. But it was a very interesting one. I'm not going to play it for you right now, but definitely go listen to it because I think it was interesting. He kind of let a few things slip. And I think this quote was a very interesting one. Some of the things we want to do as a team, play the right way. But at the same time, I know I am who I am as a player, and me being me in any team is going to be a problem. Up to you to determine whether he meant on any team or against any team. I don't know. I'm not a mind reader, but that was interesting to me. The Raptors, we're going to do this all year, man. This is going to be my auto watch all year. He's one of my favorite players, as you know. The Raptors have moved to 3-0 in games Otto Porter Jr. is playing, and 1-4 in games that he does not play. Now, in fairness, he is not playing back-to-backs, so you're already at a perceptive disadvantage on the anti-auto train there. But I think it's telling. He's played against some pretty good teams. You knocked off Milwaukee, you knocked off Dallas. Granted, Milwaukee and Dallas played horribly. Is he a part of that? Absolutely. Otto cannot play basketball without impacting winning, and he has been really good. Another player who has been really freaking good is Scottie Barnes. He is the only player in NBA history since the NBA started registering blocks and steals. So I'm pretty sure this may not have held up had there been some blocks and steals being calculated in Bill Russell's time, because he's the only other player that I can think of. Like I can think of two players in NBA history that can really do this other than Scottie, and that would be Kevin Garnett and Bill Russell. So KG did not do it. So over the first 8 games in NBA history, Scottie Barnes is the only player in NBA history to average 20 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 blocks, and 1.5 steals. Interesting. Very interesting. How consistent are you? I think it's worth noting. Scottie Barnes. I mean, to those of you who were expecting his, performance last night to absolutely destroy his numbers, it did not. It actually held even. It's just, it's how are you impacting winning, really? To those of you who think that he had a bad game yesterday, because a lot of people were on Twitter saying, oh my God, see, you had a really bad game. Actually, he had one of his better games of the season last night. And I think this number is sort of proving to you. These are the top 5 players in the NBA in terms of box plus minus. So let that simmer through. That's MVP, 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 All-Star, All-Star. Oh, wait, Scottie Barnes is not an all-star. And he's also 22. All these guys are in their mid-20s or early 30s. They're all in their primes, and they're all superstars. In the case of Donovan Mitchell, he's an offensive superstar. In the case of the other 3 guys, they are just superstars, period. So, interesting company that Scottie Barnes is keeping. Now, one of the most interesting things. Oh, the final tweet. And this one's very interesting. So, 2 things. Number 1, what way are you going? This is very interesting. Sometimes people build as their season goes on. Sometimes people start out slow. Sometimes people have an injury, etc. So I think with OG, I think his game score would tell you that when he's healthy, he has been an all-star this year. And when he has not been healthy, he's been not very good. And the game that he missed, the game that he went out, the game that he missed, and then the game right after the game that he missed were his mediocre to bad games or non-existent games in terms of game score, in terms of box plus minus, everything. But the games that he's played outside of that period of time, which was about a 5 to 6 day period, have been incredible. So here, the other player to watch for is Malachi Flynn. Started out the season as probably the worst player on the team through the first 2 games. Darko Rajakovic benches him, sticks with him, and something really miraculous has happened with Malachi Flynn. He has gotten better almost every single game like clockwork. And last night was possibly the best game of Malachi Flynn's life. It may not look like it, but it was very good. And we will look at Malachi tape. So unfortunately, Scottie's numbers are not there because I apparently screenshotted this tweet, but Scottie's numbers have been incredible. Let me see if I can pull it up. Hang on, guys. I'm just going to pull up Scottie's game score game to game because I need y'all to see this. And I'm sorry that that did not end up in the tweet that I am screenshotting for you. Give me 1 second. Let me just pull this up and I will be, give me 1 sec. Okay, hang on. I got to screenshot this. Hang on. Profile here. Jeez. Okay, hang on. I got it. Okay, pull it up, pull it up, pull it up. Here we go. So here are their game scores. If you're curious about how game score is calculated, it's basically trying to estimate efficiency based on your box score. So it assigns a certain value to blocks, steals, field goal attempts, turnovers, etc. And it is just trying to give a calculation of how impactful you were in terms of game score. So not a perfect stat by any means, but a very simplistic sort of stat. And here are the numbers. This is game to game. So I think one thing that sort of sticks out, as I said, the O.G Anunoby dip. Game 2 was when the cramp started coming up. Then he missed a game. 5.5 was the game that he was coming back from his cramps. And then he's just basically solid. So basically, outside of that period, it was basically 17.5, 13.5, sorry, 13.2, 19.6, 17. That's all-star. Like, to me, that is all-star level production, and he has been genuinely very good. Malachi Flynn starts out really bad, 0.1 and negative 0.7, the only negative anywhere here. Hard to have a negative game score, to be honest, but Malachi Flynn managed to do it in that second game, and he got benched for it, and he did not get the second half to redeem himself. Every game since then, he has been solid, and he is working himself up to borderline like good role player production. This is freaking awesome. Like, I know I was very early in the, Malachi is not an NBA player, camp. But ever since game 3, he has shown me something. I got to tell you, game 3, I was like, okay, good Malachi Flynn game, but I couldn't let go of the first 2 games. By the 4th game, I was like, okay, Darko Rajakovic is doing something. By the 5th game, I was like, oh my God, is this sustaining? And since that point, he has gotten better and better and better. This has been very good, Malachi. Pascal Siakam has basically been oscillating between a low-level role player to start out the season, 9.6, 9.1, 8.6. Again, for a guy who's playing 33, 34 minutes every single game, that's hard to do, to be that bad and to impact the game so little. Then he has the big one, 23 against Milwaukee. Then he puts up his 2 worst games of the season right after, 5.8, and then culminating with 2.5 against San Antonio. And then he has his best game of the season per game score, which was last night, which is 23.2. Scottie Barnes, this has been a very interesting season for Scottie. 4 straight games with over 20 game score is pretty ridiculous and probably explains how his box plus minus keeps climbing. But his worst games of the season were Portland at 14 against Portland in the middle, and then Minnesota 14.8. Minnesota was the game that he had 5 blocks, but he did not play well in that game, and that was the one game under 20 points. Now, the one game under 20 points, he was at 14.8, and then every single game since then, he was at 20 points, 20 points, 20 points, etc., because the shot was going, shooting 42% from 3. Last night, the shot was not going. Paint was not open. There was a lot of congestion, a lot of weird offensive stuff, and it's interesting. How do you put up a 20 game score plus 20 plus game score? If you go look at any, all-star, superstar, whatever, there are dips under 20 all the time, right? To people, who don't follow other teams, like, my God, like, you could definitely, see Jason Tatum score 13, 14 points every, 7th or 8th game. There's like a dip, sometimes, these players get extremely hot. They score 40, 38, 36, and then it balances out at the end of the year. They're averaging 27, but, off games do happen. I don't think yesterday was necessarily an off game for Scottie. I just think, it was just a deciding game for Scottie. Now, he faced a lot of criticism last year from some of the people that we're going to check in on today to see how they're doing, do a welfare check on Josh Lewenberg and Waz. So people often said that, he didn't really dial it up until the 4th quarter. And then some games he just didn't show up, etc. And this was a major criticism of Scottie last year. Now, I could definitely say that there were times when he wasn't assertive enough. And I fully buy that. I agree with that. But I've always felt like he kind of just let the game come to him. It was very Russell-esque. And I remember this sort of thing that I wrote to somebody in his rookie season. And I said, I'm watching a player that on some nights reminds me of a young Magic Johnson, on some nights reminds me of a young Bill Russell, and on some nights reminds me of a young Scottie Pippen. And that's probably the most accurate and best way that I could possibly describe Scottie Barnes. Now, I just described a player who reminds me of a young greatest center of all time, young best wing defender of all time and young best point guard of all time. No wonder people can't figure out who the hell this player is and what to do with him. What is undoubtable, however, is that he is playing better than any 23 any player under 25 in the NBA. Or any player under 23 in the NBA. And that includes Luka Doncic. And I think you'll see that even though Luka Doncic is averaging, I think, 39 points, 10 rebounds, 9 assists, and you would think that there's no way in hell that someone who's averaging half as many points could possibly be having a better impact on the game. I assure you, Scottie is actually having a better season than Luka Doncic per the analytics. And there's a reason for that, because he's really, really freaking good. I mean, it's hard to make an argument for Luka because he just doesn't play defense. Like, there are players like this, like Trae Young. Like, he put up 37 points and probably have a bad game. There are guys like that. Every single player here is at least capable defensively, and Donovan Mitchell is at least trying. Joel Embiid, all of these guys, they try on defense. They may not be defensive player of the year candidates, but they're all trying on defense. Okay, so as I said, we're going to do a bit of a check on these guys, but I just want to say, like, sometimes it's felt like last year that Scottie was just trying to figure out what his team needed from him because the offense was so janky and so weird at times. Does my team need a screen setter because nobody's setting screens? Okay, let me try to get Fred open. Let me try to get Gary open. Does my team need, someone to roll because nobody's rolling and the paint is just really congested? So do I need to do that? Does my team need a shooter? Well, let me stand in the corner and try to space the floor. Does my team need someone to push it in transition because we're going too slowly? Does my team need a shot blocker? Let me block some shots. Does my team need a point of attack defender? I mean, you'll notice Scottie did a lot of point of attack stuff last year because Fred was very compromised in that regard, and he was struggling with faster matchups. And when neither Scottie nor Fred could do it, then you saw Jeff Doughton get some minutes so that Jeff could slow down, a Jaden Ivey or a De'Aaron Fox. But what I found interesting was it was just like, what does my team need from me to win? And it felt very interesting yesterday to watch sort of the first quarter, especially the first 6-7 minutes of the game. And I was like, this is going to be a really big Scottie defensive game because the defense is so lax. Now, this is a chess player. When you play chess, you size up your opponent within the first 8 to 10 moves, and then you try to formulate a middle game and an end game based on the opponent you're playing against. You can't play the same chess game against two different players. You might want to play very conservatively against like someone who's better than you. You might want to be very, very aggressive against someone who's much worse than you, right? To force them to trip up. You might want to sacrifice a queen on the fifth move because you are playing against someone who cannot possibly stop the next 4 moves that you're going to do. Chess is a very interesting, analysis and way to look and way to approach thinking about basketball. And I think Scottie's like a grandmaster chess player. There are other players like this. LeBron is like this. Draymond Green is like this. Just cerebral, very, very smart basketball players. Bill Russell, right? Where they are just waiting for you to show them really who you are and what type of game you're going to play. Once they see your entire offensive scheme, like who you're going to, where you're milking it, they'll adjust. And because they're so skilled and so smart, they actually can adjust. Watching Luka orchestrate the offense and just sort of, masterfully thread the offense for the Dallas Mavericks, and then watching Scottie quarterback the defense was a little bit like watching two very, very gifted chess players playing a game of grandmaster chess. It was very interesting. All right, let's get to the film breakdown. We are 18 minutes in, and we have seen no film. What kind of a film breakdown is this? Just a guy talking. Okay, let's get to the film. Okay, first, as I said, we're going to do a little bit of a welfare check to see how 2 of the biggest Scottie critics that I can think of are doing. Let's just see how they're doing. Let me make myself very small on the screen. Okay, let's hear what Josh Lewenberg had to say about Scottie Barnes' hot start and small sample sizes.
Barnes has been really, really good in just about all of these 7 games that he's played to start the season. But it's 7 games that I've been seeing. I'm actually less bothered by the statement he has arrived than some of these, like, people are talking about him being an all-star this season. And that to me seems a little crazy because it's like, it's 7 games. I remember there was a season where Andrea Bargnani got off to like an amazing start. He had 13 incredible games.
Okay. Oh my God. Okay, so just to put this into perspective, if Scottie Barnes comes out and scores 0 points, 0 rebounds, 0 assists for the next 5 games, and that's his 13 game sample size, his 13 games will still be more impressive than Andrea Bargnani's 13 games, just to put that into perspective. Just an unbelievably casual, idiotic take. I thought that was idiotic. And then I heard this. And I'm not sure which is more idiotic. So you can just vote. You can tell me in the comments when this video is live, if you're not watching this live, if you're watching this after, tell me who was stupider. I just want to know. Okay.
Who gets a lot of love on our show is Aaron Gordon, right? Who everything that he does at full speed and with an incredible amount of intensity and understanding the attention to detail on both offense and defense when it comes to timing his cuts and, setting incredible screens and crashing the boards and abusing mismatches. Like, he does that stuff with so much verve, but he damn sure doesn't shoot anywhere close to 40% from three, right?
Okay. So the context of that was how impressive has Scottie Barnes been? And all because these guys are just casuals. I mean, honestly, man, people are not watching. They're not watching. And if you're not going to watch the guy play, then I suggest you look at his analytics. But all they're seeing that's popping up is, oh my God, he's doing a step back from 3. Because 132 countries watch that Wemby game. So that's basically like, okay, well, he can't sustain this. That's not, bro. Yesterday he shot 0 for 4 from 3. And he had a better game than probably any game last season, or one of the best games that it would have been last season. So his worst games now are better than some of his best games last year. That is a massive step up. Like, I mean, to point it again to, just to give you an idea, like who these guys are comparing. Aaron, they're comparing Scottie Barnes. They're both huge Scottie shit talkers. Like, they spent a lot of time last year talking about work ethic. In the case of Josh Lewenberg, Scottie Barnes plays one quarter, wish he would, he only plays one half. He doesn't show up until the second half. He plays half games. Scottie Barnes plays half games. That was the Josh Lewenberg quote from last year. And then Wozniak, like, just as Woz was just like, he was, sorry, I don't want to say Wozniak. Sorry, they call him Woz. Is it Woz? Someone correct me. Or Roz. I think it's Woz. They call him Woz. I think Bill Simmons calls him Woz. Anyways, this guy on The Ringer, whose name I have not learned because I refuse, has this completely casual take about Aaron Gordon. And he has compared Scottie to some ridiculously shit players before, and is probably pretty much a Cade apologist and believes that, Cade is probably still better. If you put a gun to his head and said Cade or Scottie right now, he would pick Cade. Cade is not even the best young player on his own team. Like, this is ridiculous. Scottie might be one of the top 10 players in the NBA right now, and these guys are comparing him to Aaron Gordon and Andrea Bargnani. Unimaginable. Okay, so there was a comment earlier about this, and I devote this entire film session to those people who just don't understand basketball. So let's go into this. So we're going to look at some good offense. We're going to look at some bad offense, and I'm going to try to slow it down minimally. This is how O.G Anunoby gets screened. Now, I'm basically pointing to this because I want people to try and train their eyes to look away from the basketball a little bit. And I feel like slowing the game down a little bit, doing top-down plays, etc. I think this helps people in real time maybe understand the value of players who don't score as much, but maybe do other things. So let's see who gets OG Anunoby his 3 here. Okay, so Pascal Siakam gets his pass here. Jakob Poeltl setting us. Nope. Okay. Quick passes over. Scottie Barnes started setting a screen there for Siakam. Now look at this. Look at how Jakob holds his position here to get OG open. Now, this is very, very much why OG gets this pass. There's a lot of things that are creating the motion that confuses this terrible Dallas team, which is almost always on Luka. And, Dwight Powell wasn't great yesterday either. But consider how much away from the ball was done to kind of like fake this sort of action for Siakam, and all the while, like the Dallas Mavericks just don't realize that they're trying to get OG open above the break, and boom. Now, Luka Doncic is really late reacting to this, and Jakob Poeltl he doesn't have to do too much here, but he's going to do just enough. Boom. And that's going to be a wide open three. That's pretty much as wide open as you get in the NBA. Okay, here's some early offense, sort of transition. Jakob running down the paint, then O.G Anunoby sort of throws it at his feet. Now, look, Scottie Barnes calling for it. Perfect. Now, I think most players here would pass to Siakam. Either they would take the shot or pass to Siakam. And that's probably what Dallas is thinking. Look at how many defenders have been drawn because Jakob gets the paint touch and sort of fakes the shot. He opens up Scottie. Now, this is 0.5 offense in a nutshell. It has rarely worked for the Raptors, but I want to show you an example of it working really well for the Raptors. Now, the advantage will be lost if Scottie makes a bad decision here. The bad decision would be to pass to Siakam. Not because Siakam is not a good player, but because Siakam is technically covered by Derek Jones Jr. here, and it would not be as advantage generating as passing to Dennis Schroder, who's off the screen right now, but will immediately emerge into the play. You have to immediately find where the advantage is. Now, Scottie could take this three, and I don't think I would complain at all, but the pass to Schroder, it just milks the advantage. Now, Luka Doncic is going to recover to Dennis Schroder. Okay, sort of. And Dennis Schroder is going to do the most amazing thing. He's going to look shot ready. Now, who's open? Let me know in the chat. Who's open? Who's open? Who's open? Who's open? Do you see it? Because this is the same pass that Fred VanVleet, almost identical, refused to make to O.G Anunoby last year. Boom. No look. O.G Anunoby. Man, you thought the last pass was open? Holy. This is even more open. And O.G Anunoby perfectly gets that. Okay, here. A little dribble handoff action with Yak holding. Gets Dwight Powell off of Scottie. Now, you have corner spacing. Perfect. For whatever reason, Grant Williams and Luka Doncic is kind of like sagging off of O.G Anunoby. Keep that in mind. Now, Scottie Barnes immediately initiates a downhill attack on Dwight Powell there. Boom. Gets a paint touch. Now out. Dennis Schroder could easily pass right here, but Derek Jones decides he's not going to put his hands up, and Dennis Schroder makes the right play. Okay. Now, I think it is worth noting. Let me see if Scottie points to OG here. Hang on. Yep. Now watch Scottie Barnes pointing to OG. Do you see it? Because currently, Scottie is reading that Dennis Schroder is going to be contested on this, right? He's not a great shooter. OG is the best shooter on the court for the Raptors right now, okay? And he's open because Luka Doncic, for whatever reason, is sagging off of him because they couldn't put Luka on Pascal and they couldn't put Luka on Scottie. So they've decided for whatever reason. I mean, right now you have Kyrie Irving guarding Jakob Poeltl. Like, this is to show you just how incredibly stupid the Dallas Mavericks defense was last game. Like, you have mismatches galore everywhere. I think the Raptors are just a terrible matchup for them in general, long wings, etc. But I mean, seriously, like, this is craziness. But because, like, so both players are right. Both Scottie and Dennis are right here. Scottie is right to be pointing to OG here because technically OG is the most open player on the court. However, once Derek Jones Jr. decides to play off of Schroder, he has to take the shot, and he does. And I believe he makes it, or he misses it. What does he do? He makes it. Perfect. Okay. Pascal Siakam transition. OG Anunoby filling the wings. Gary Trent Jr. almost perfect placement in the corner, sort of spacing. So making sure that, so if Gary does not go corner, if Gary decides to camp out in the middle, Siakam has no options. Right now, Siakam has two options, and he is going to pick the better option. And Maxi Kleber is way too slow to recover, and it's an open dunk for OG Anunoby. Great offense, great transition offense. All right, here we go. He is not that old, I promise. Otto Porter is 30 years old, and he is a really good person to put in the middle of your break because he is a really smart player. See his heads up, and he's instructing. He's guiding traffic while dribbling. He knows where every player on his team is, and he has quickly just mapped the entire court. So he is going to make either a good decision or a bad decision. Let's see what he does here. Chris Boucher does not know what the fuck he's doing right now, but he is going to pass to Malachi Flynn. And once he passes, he's going to go right to the corner to get the defender out. And look at what happens here. You get a clean look for Chris Boucher. Now, this is pretty much entirely on Dallas not knowing what the hell they're doing here. So watch the Dallas defenders here and how they just go to the bottom. Now, you'll see Dwight Powell in the paint. Typically, here's how defenses usually guard transition. Attack the paint. They go right to the paint. Once they are set, then they find shooters. Usually, when you run in transition, you will find, especially bigs like hangback bigs or rim protectors or guys who just instinctually don't find shooters in transition. They will often get either cross-matched above the break with a really quick guard if your big can shoot, or they will completely sag and you'll find a big kind of camping out above the break, trailing the play, kind of like Marc Gasol. So here you find a big above the break because the Dallas Mavericks simply don't have an advantage here. Once Dwight Powell goes into the paint, he forgets that, hey, I'm not guarding anybody right now. And because Otto Porter does not stand right next to Chris Boucher becomes open. So there's a lot of things that had to happen in order for this to work, right? Namely, the other four players basically work to get Chris Boucher open, and Dwight Powell forgets that Chris Boucher can sort of shoot. And Malachi Flynn makes the right read. That is also important because if Malachi decides to try and initiate some sort of downhill attack right now, the advantage is lost, right? So you have to capitalize on the advantage. This is basically what 0.5 offense or whatever the Raptors are doing right now in terms of motion offense that's very egalitarian. And once again, look at Scottie Barnes. Look at Scottie Barnes making the decision for Malachi. I'm not saying that Malachi wouldn't have seen this, but in every single play last game, almost every single play, you see Scottie doing stuff like this. If he is not directly pushing you into position, he is pointing to the right position. Scottie directing. Like, seriously, he's awesome. Okay, let's continue on. How do you guys like the pace so far? Pace is good, right? We're moving along pretty well. Okay, we're 32 minutes in. We've had a lot of good offensive possessions. Here's Scottie doing a little bit more directing here. This is Otto holding position. Look at Chris Boucher. Chris Boucher is like, hey, man, I'm wide open. True. He is perfectly wide open. And if Scottie were to slingshot this over, this is just, I guess this is just evidence on how bad Dallas's defense is. They get lost. And look at Otto holding his screen position. We are going to actually, at some point today, maybe in the middle, before we go from offense to defense, we're going to talk about screen setting. We're going to talk about what a legal screen is, what a good screen is, what an angle of a screen is. We're going to talk about all that too. So this is going to be pretty informative. I think this is going to be a good sort of like lesson in terms of who's doing what and how they're doing it. Okay, look at Otto. So this is technically an illegal screen. I just want to be clear. That's an illegal screen. But he gets away with it, and Gary Trent Jr. gets a wide open shot. Okay, so Otto Porter's box score last night said 0 points. How many points did he actually generate while he was on the court? A lot. Okay, he does really great things all the time. Now here's Siakam, another guy who does really great things all the time. He's going to do a little bit of a handoff here, fakes the handoff because Derrick Jones Jr. recovers. And look at that hand up, kind of preventing, right? But OG is going to get ahead, and you are going to see a really smart center who is an above average playmaker throw a lob for OG Anunoby. Love it. Love this offense. Perfect. How many dunks did OG Anunoby get yesterday? Okay. Here's Scottie Barnes, the number one player that you want to give the ball to in transition, even though he completely screwed up a couple plays. And this is one of the plays he's going to screw up. Now, I've been commenting all year that Scottie's passing has just been off target all year. I don't understand how it is because last year he was pretty accurate. he's going to have to get better at this, because this was the second time. This was the first of 2 times where he throws kind of like a pass that's just way too high. Everything is just a little high for him right now, or a little left. I don't know what's going on, but yes, this is him trying to find Siakam in transition. And look at where this pass goes. Like, I mean, like who, what? That's not Vince Carter. That's not Shaden Sharp, Scottie. Like you can't do this. Luckily, the Raptors, I mean, it works out for the Raptors. See, sometimes you're good, sometimes you're lucky. I'm sorry, my nose is itching like crazy. I'm not lying. I know people typically touch their nose when they're lying. I don't know why my nose is so itchy right now. Jesse, thank you so much, Jesse. 186 viewers. Where are the likes? Yes, like this video, please. It helps to get this out to more people, and hopefully it gets me a little bit of money to fund my caffeine addiction. So please do that. I would really appreciate it. Thank you. Make sure to like. Thank you so much, Gregory. Hey, how's it going, Greg? Okay, continuing on. Now, I have mentioned many times that so much of breaking down the Raptors' offensive game tape was really looking at how bad the defense was for the Dallas Mavericks. Now, this is Richaun Holmes, formerly of the Sacramento Kings. And, one of the things you learn very quickly about Richaun Holmes, sorry, I don't know what is going on with my nose here. Like, I feel like I've never itched my nose so bad in my life. Okay. Carry on, Rob. Composure. One of the things you know about Richaun Holmes, if you've watched enough Sacramento Kings games, is that he is, in my opinion, a really bad defender. Pascal Siakam notices this, so he basically brings Richaun out, because this is really smart offense by Siakam. He is a really good field player in terms of offense. So look at where he catches the basketball, right? So he catches it here. Now, if he were to try and, go up right now, he's pretty much in Richaun's territory. Richaun is, a decent paint protector. But by pulling Richaun Holmes out of the paint and then reinitiating the attack, boom. Dust. See ya. Boom. Great. And here's Scottie, just like, I mean, this is Luka Doncic defensive masterclass. Like, really, I don't know how you're supposed to win a championship with a guy who just really is just so bad on defense. Look at Luka just giving Pascal Siakam a wide open, cut to the basket here. Kyrie Irving is talking to the referee for some reason. I mean, I don't know what he's doing, but Scottie Barnes completely calculates this perfectly, and boom, another open layup. Thank you so much for the caffeine. By the way, do you know about Scottie's second Instagram account? I do. I know about Scottie's second Instagram account. I think I might even know something about his third Instagram account. Okay, let's go here. Okay, this is the funniest play in possibly this is the funniest play of the season by far. This is a comedy of errors. Number one, O.G Anunoby is going to fall. Okay, so OG, trying his best. He did an even job on Luka, right? About as good a job as you can do on someone who's averaging nearly 40 points per game. Here is Pascal Siakam kind of just, he's in the way here. This is offense turning to defense. Now, this is so funny. Honestly, it will probably make you laugh out loud. Gary Trent Jr., who is, by the way, probably the best defensive game of the year last night for Gary Trent Jr. We'll talk about defense after we're done with the offense. Gary Trent Jr. picks off this pass. Okay. Now, watch this. Okay. When you're not an elite ball handler, things like this happen. This is hilarious for so many levels. This is okay. Bro, I can't even keep a straight face. He loses the basketball. Luka Doncic is so pitiful on defense that somehow he doesn't even get, how do you not get this, Luka? Luka is preying on the basketball right now. But he kicks it. He kicked it. I mean, that's so freaking, heads up play. I mean, totally cost yourself transition, and this is a perfect example of how the Raptors usually cost themselves in transition, because if the referee saw this is an immediate kick ball. It's obviously deliberate. He deliberately kicks it. This is not inadvertently. He's kicking it on purpose because he kicked it out of Luka's hand. And now This is the second funny part is he pushes OG's ass and then falls into OG, which is like, I mean, this is, if Shaq finds out about this, this is Shaq in a Fool Hall of Fame right here. Okay. This is hilarious. This is funny. What the hell is Luka Doncic doing? But like, this is like, I mean, you got to really, really break this down because this isn't even the funniest part of this play. I mean, there's so many funny things that have happened already, right? Like, let's just okay, focus on Luka for a second. Flailing about. Gary Trent Jr. dives into O.G Anunoby. Now, here is the masterpiece. Here is the funniest part of this play. Look at Grant Williams. He cannot believe this stupid referee missed the kick ball, and he will demonstrate it for the referee. Everybody was kung fu fight. Oh my gosh. That is all time one of the funniest plays. Okay, here comes Scottie Barnes in the middle of the floor running transition, and look at Pascal Siakam correctly go, and he's going to do the perfect thing in transition, and Scottie is going to correspond that. Perfect. This is why you keep your hands up in transition. And, Scottie correctly identifies there's no help back there. Siakam is going to get clear to the basket. Kyrie Irving is the first guy back. Grant Williams is not going to get here in time for the block. Nobody contests it. It's pretty much an open layup that just looks way more complicated than it really is. Look at Gary Trent Jr. Getting into the paint, getting a paint touch here. Scottie Barnes correctly spacing into the corner. Pascal Siakam sort of just hanging out by the post. And Malachi shot ready. And wham! Malachi Flynn / Steph Curry. I think it's a great shot. Scottie Barnes decides, no. This is winning time. Put back jam. Okay. Pascal Siakam, good early pass in transition to Gary Trent Jr. Boom. Just hands down, just a terrible, terrible defensive team. Okay. Everybody eats. Perfect pass from Pascal Siakam over to Malachi Flynn. And once again, shot ready. And this time he's going to make it. Perfect. So again, like to me, it's all about offensive process. I don't care if you make or miss. He could miss that shot 10 times out of 10. It's a great shot. He was ready to take it. He took it on time. Perfect. I'm so happy for him that it went in. Obviously, it's good for your confidence as a shooter if you see some go down. I could certainly, be great for Jalen McDaniels and Grady Dick right now, but it was good last night for Malachi Flynn and Gary Trent Jr., two shooters who really, have struggled at times this year. It's really good to see them both, Number one, it was like basketball karma. You know what I mean? Because they both dialed in so hard on defense, the shot started to fall. I don't know. I'm just going to assume that LeBron James and Michael Jordan are right and that there are basketball gods and that they reward you when you play defense. So, both players played really well on defense, and you can just see how happy the bench is for Malachi. Okay. This is O.G Anunoby, this time passing to Malachi Flynn. And once again, shot ready. And once again, another bucket and bucket. Whoa. Did I just do a Jack Armstrong thing? Malachi Flynn. He is becoming him. Man, I have never flipped so much on a player probably in my life. I mean, every single time I feel like I'm like hyping up Malachi now. I feel like I'm cheating on Jeff, in a weird way. Like, man, I feel like I have to just keep putting the asterisks. Like, I'm so happy for Malachi. I still wish we had Jeff, but I think I can let it go and just say, as much as I wish we did have Jeff, I'm so happy with what Malachi is doing, and I'm happy for him because he doesn't do this. He doesn't have an NBA contract next year. He is fighting for his NBA life right now, and he is making a very valid case to be extended right now. Okay, Scottie Barnes in the middle of the floor against Dwight Powell. This is a mismatch if ever there was one, and he should be able to blow right past him. But the problem is, you got Chris Boucher, and he's in the paint. And right now, if you had better players around you, the first thing a smarter player would do is just pull his defender out of your way because you have a mismatch, and your four teammates need to see that. Chris Boucher does not care if you have a mismatch. Chris Boucher cares that he has a mismatch. And so he's like, hey, man, I got Kyrie Irving on me. I'm just going to camp out in the paint. So Scottie's like, okay, if the paint is not open for me, I'm going to find a way to make sure that I find the advantage. And one way to find the advantage is to find number 77 for the Dallas Mavericks, and whoever the hell is guarding him, wherever he's guarding, that's your advantage. And this is O.G Anunoby attacking oh my God, Luka Doncic, man. What the hell is this? Like, what is this, Luka? My goodness. It is the most pathetic defense of any player who played in the entire game. Second only to Pascal Siakam, but like, honestly, this was pathetic defense. Unbelievable. And this is just Scottie just saying, screw it. I'm just going for it. Crazy, just attacking in transition. Look at the bench reaction, and you can really tell like how much these guys like really love this guy. Like every single time Scottie has a big moment, you can just see, look at Otto's face. Bro, I love to see bench reactions because it really lets you know who's fucking with who, right? Last year, Fred VanVleet have a big shot. You see the bench, there's like two guys clapping. Look at Otto's face right now and screenshot this. Look at Grady's face. Look at OG's. I mean, my God. And look at this absolutely stunned crowd who are very sad. This is, I mean, and look at Chris Boucher, having a moment to just make sure that, nobody gets fined, nobody gets teched by coming onto the court. But this was a big play for Scottie, and look at how happy Jakob is. Look at how happy Malachi is. He's flexing it just in the corner of the screen right there, right? Like everyone is just so excited for him, and I am very, very excited for him as well. Okay, here's Scottie Barnes, and what's he gonna do? Perfect. See, this is just really smart basketball. You have an advantage, milk it. Okay, now the film is about to get a little bit grainier. I apologize. The screen recording was of pretty poor quality. Unfortunately, the recording that this website had was like, it was trash. So I'm going to try to keep this really slow, but you'll still be able to see what's happening. I apologize. It's not going to be as clean as it was on the other side. Okay, here we go. Scottie in the post. This is a mistake by Scottie. So this entire possession, basically, Derek Jones was tagging Pascal Siakam. Once Scottie initiated his move on Kyrie Irving, which is the correct move, Derek Jones is going to come down and help on Scottie. Scottie, for whatever reason, does not see him, or he decides that he's just not going to be able to attack. Jakob Poeltl is hanging in the paint, which, is also complicating things. So Scottie is really going, 2-on-1/3-on-1 here. The right pass is to pass out to Siakam. I'm not putting words into his brain or trying to, create some sort of, let's say, intention to what he's doing or intentionality. In most cases, he would make this pass to the open shooter up top. Siakam had bricked a few shots already at this point from three, so maybe he thought he had a better shot of just going over Kyrie. Siakam had also blown like 4 defensive assignments in a row up until this point, so maybe it was just like, if you're going to refuse to play defense, I'm not passing to you. I don't know. But ultimately, Scottie would typically make this pass, and he doesn't right now, and Kyrie just defends well enough that Derek Jones can block him from behind. Not great offense from Scottie Barnes. Okay, here comes Dennis Schroder. Just dribbling the ball up the court. Okay, I believe. So here is Pascal Siakam refusing to screen. Okay, if you have evidence that Pascal Siakam has set one solid screen this year, I want to know. There are about 200 screens, if I'm correct, 150 to 200 screens set in every single game. Pascal Siakam does not set them. This is Pascal, who's supposed to set one screen, and then Jakob is supposed to set the second screen, and Jakob is going to actually set the screen to keep Grant Williams off. But when Pascal sets this sort of down screen on or pin down on Scottie to come up, I mean, could have done this on the other side with OG as well. Basically, it's supposed to get Scottie open. Like, teams run this all the time to get, a shooter popping up above the break. Unfortunately, it doesn't work if you don't screen. So look at how Derek Jones is able to navigate Pascal Siakam's screen. That's right. Pascal Siakam doesn't screen. The only person who screens here is Jakob Poeltl. Now, can you find me one reason why Pascal Siakam would not screen in this situation? Because I can't. I can't for the life of me figure this out. And the guy that was not screened off is the guy who contests. Don't you have to wait for the screener? Okay. You think in this case that Scottie goes too early? He doesn't even try. What are you talking about? He's jogging over. I mean, technically you could say Scottie went a little early, but I mean, you can't. Okay, we will talk about what is a solid screen and what is a what's illegal screen and what's a good idea when you're screening or how to hold your position and stuff, because I think it could help some young hoopers and maybe even understand some people who are trying to understand the game and trying to understand why good screeners are so important, et cetera, et cetera. But I'm sorry, that is supposed to be a screen. Like, I mean, I'm watching the game when Siakam's not playing, and I'm watching the game. If that was auto, that's a screen. So if it's if Darko is saying, "Hey, man, we don't want you setting screens in this game at all," then okay, that's power to Darko and Siakam. That's not an arrangement that I know about. But if that was auto, he's setting a screen and he's holding it. And no, you don't have to necessarily wait. Technically, if that if you set a stagger screen, the player is supposed to run the player off the screen. You don't have to go right up to the guy and screen. You can just literally hold your position and the guy can just run his defender off of you. Scottie does not go fast enough on this anyways. Like, I think he needs to learn to sort of sprint. But yeah, I mean, like, Jakob is already in position. Like, you can't project it either, right? Because I mean, like, right now it looks kind of innocent. And if Scottie starts projecting it, then the defense will be able to recover and get around the screen. So yeah, but you can see that Pascal Siakam is angling himself to set a screen, right? I mean, am I stupid? Like, tell me if I'm wrong. I'm not a head coach. So you tell me, right? But I think that's supposed to be a screen that he just does not screen. And ultimately it is, Grant Williams just gets the switch, and then Jakob is trying to hold off Derek Jones. Doesn't work. And boom. Okay, cool. I could be wrong. I'm opening myself up to that. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm reading the play incorrectly. But I don't think I am. Okay, here comes Scottie Barnes. He's going to find a corner shooter, as he often does. Finds O.G Anunoby. Look at this insane recovery by Luka Doncic. Like, I don't know what the hell Luka thinks he's doing here. He's not forcing anything. I mean, he's technically forcing baseline, but he's closing out so out of control that, like, I mean, who are you stopping when you close out like this? This is the most ridiculous defense I think I've ever seen in my life. And he goes past him. He doesn't contest. He doesn't do anything. He just runs him off the line. Fair enough. He has Dwight Howell behind him. But right now, the second, and I don't remember this play off the top of my head. I'm going to bet that Luka does not continue to trail on this play. Let me see. No, he doesn't. There's nothing. Luka's doing nothing here. He's behind OG. Now, if OG passes to Yak right now, this is a dunk. You can see Scottie sort of getting in position to get an offensive rebound, and boom. Now, this should be a dunk. Instead, it turns into a block somehow. That's on Yak. That's on the refs. He climbed his back. He basically catapulted over his back. Dennis Schroder running the break here. Boom, boom, boom. Telling Pascal to go to the corner. Pascal initiates a post-up on Kyrie. This is why you run in transition, because you get cross matches. Pascal is going to, draw some help here from Dwight Powell. And what's the right play? Well, the right play is to pass to O.G Anunoby. Right? I mean, do you see OG? Like, wide open, right? And instead, he's going to try to pass to Dennis Schroder, who would then have to pass to OG. You have a perfect angle to pass to OG if you just fake to Schroder, you could find OG wide open. Luka has his back to him. And the minute you find that advantage, it would be 2-on-1, basically, with Scottie going downhill and OG a threat to shoot. And then you would find another advantage if Luka does one of those crazy ass closeouts. But I mean, you're on the side. I mean, I don't even know who the good defender is right now for the Mavericks. Maybe Grant Williams, who's tagging, Jakob Poeltl. But really, this is a blown advantage, in my opinion, because once you draw 2 to the ball, you have an advantage somewhere, and you just have to see it. And I guess to those of you who say like Pascal Siakam is some great passer, he's not. And this is why. Because not only does he not, milk this advantage that he generates because the Dallas Mavericks overplay him on a simple post up. And granted, they should overplay him because he has a one-on-one post up in a place on the floor, by the way, that he's very effective, and he's shown to be very effective against Kyrie Irving. Now, why they have him cross-matched on Kyrie Irving? That's bad discipline on their part. Why Luka Doncic is going to surrender a wide open dunk to Scottie Barnes right now if Pascal Siakam decides to see it, that I don't know. Why O.G Anunoby is wide open, I don't know. And this is why Jason Kidd called his team soft last night. But honestly, it's not just soft. They were just stupid defensively. And this is, just bad offense. Bad offensive execution. Dwight Powell attacks you. Kyrie's got his hands down. You're almost a foot taller. I mean, not a foot taller. You're like 8 inches taller than Kyrie Irving. You need to be able to throw this pass across to OG Anunoby. Like, it has to be, or you have to find Scottie Barnes cutting into the paint. And you can see Scottie like with his arms out, like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, okay. Little DHO here. Siakam, this is, I think, going to be a good play, not a bad play, right? Dennis Schroder, boom, boom. Okay, and look at Jakob Poeltl once again screening Grant Williams so that Pascal Siakam can get this, and really holding Grant. He has his jersey in his hands, like he's basically like clamping him by the nipples, to make sure that he can't get over the screen. And here's another example of Jakob just setting a screen. I would argue the screen is technically a little bit illegal, but whatever. The refs don't call it. They don't call it. Some refs call screens a little bit, differently. But yep, he holds his position. It's not completely illegal because he doesn't actually. Okay, maybe this is a good time to talk about screens. I keep hinting at it, but I feel like I really need to talk about it because I was listening to a couple. Sorry, let me just get a sip of coffee here. Susan Garrett. This is the exact clip I sent you earlier today. You can see the lack of effort in his entire body in that clip. Susan, I haven't actually seen the clip yet, but Susan Garrett, big shout out to Susan. To anyone who has a dog out there, I cannot recommend Susan's channel enough. Check out Susan Garrett Dogs. I know a lot of our community members have dogs. And big congratulations. She is an awesome YouTuber, and she just crossed 100,000 subs, and very well deserved. In fact, the only thing confusing about this 100,000 subs is how it's not 1 million subs. I am a former dog trainer. I've had a dog that I love and cherish for 14 years, and I've had dogs before that. I can tell you I know a good trainer and good advice when I hear it. This is one of the best channels, so definitely go check out Susan Garrett Dogs if you haven't already, and go sub up. Yes, Susan was there yesterday, and yes, I cannot wait to see the clip that you're talking about, and I will probably, post it if you give me permission to. Okay, cool. Yes. Okay, let's carry on. Here we go. Dennis Schroder, great. And that is another play that was basically created by Jakob Poeltl doing Jakob Poeltl things. So to anyone out there who's saying Jakob Poeltl is trash and Jakob Poeltl is this and Jakob Poeltl is that, Jakob Poeltl is actually a very, very good basketball player. May not be the most ideal fit with this roster, but please do not ever question his effort or his intelligence, really, or his work ethic. He's a fantastic basketball player. Okay, moving on. Luka in transition. Why are we looking at Luka playing transition? Am I about to... Did I just extend this clip for absolutely no reason? Or is this about to break into terrible defense? Ah, yes. I remember. So here, Luka gets OG off of him here. And this is a little bit... He gets OG on his hip. Here comes Luka against... Now, what the hell Why is Kyrie open? Can anyone tell me why Kyrie Irving is open? We will definitely examine this and many other clips when we are done this, but I promise you it is a 43 problem. Here comes another defensive possession. I broke down defense, but apparently I've clumped some defense into the offense clips. My bad. I apologize. Here's another, probably a masterful defensive effort by Pascal Siakam. Now, watch Pascal this entire time, okay? Who is he guarding right now? You might ask. Is he playing a one-man zone? I mean, I know he's not blocking shots because I think he has a 0.2 block percentage on the entire season. And I'm told by very, very, analytical, smart, people that talk about this game that he's playing great defense. And I'm sorry, every single game I watch him and he's playing terrible defense. So I want to show his terrible defense. Who the hell is he guarding right now? He's supposed to be guarding Derek Jones Jr. That's number 55 in the corner over there, but he's kind of just I don't know. That was Scottie or OG's fault. Oh, I beg to differ. Are you kidding me? Okay, let's watch this again. OG gets the guy. Okay. Now, this is technically Pascal Siakam is supposed to tag the roller there, which is Dwight Powell goes into the paint. He's technically lost Dwight Powell right now. If Luka decides to throw an alley-oop to Dwight Powell, Dwight Powell is actually in a position to catch that ball and dunk it on Pascal Siakam's head. So immediately you're not doing your job. You're guarding nobody. You're ball watching right now. So immediately, I just want you to know that right now, yes, Dennis Schroder is technically still, he's on Derek Jones Jr. and Pascal and Scottie Barnes is kind of gapping the middle just in case OG gets beat so that he can kind of close down the drive for Luka. He's splitting the difference here because when you get beat the way that OG just got beat around that screen, you have to offer help and you have to be in a position to help. So if Scottie goes and hugs, if you're saying it's Scottie's fault, are you kidding me right now? No. If Scottie goes over to Kyrie Irving right now, he's not in a position to be able to help. And that would result in a 2-on-1 disadvantage for Pascal Siakam having to guard two players. And it will probably result in a corner three for Derek Jones Jr. But what I'm saying is once this happens, because they don't want Jakob, this is a switch. Jakob probably should offer a little bit more. This is a miscommunication on Jakob's part for sure. Because right now, if Jakob were the type of, Luke, probably this is on Jakob, but I think Jakob decides that he has help behind him and maybe help can come up. I'm not really sure. You can make a case that this is on Jakob. It's definitely not on OG. You can get clipped on a screen and it's not your fault. It's just a really good screen. Okay. So it's definitely not on OG and I don't think it's on Scottie. Now, if you want to make a case that Scottie needs to close this off and then OG needs to rotate over to Kyrie Irving, fine, make that case. But right now, none of this is really an issue unless you think about if you cannot realize that Siakam has guarded nobody in this entire possession. And the one guy he's supposed to guard got behind him. The other guy that I guess Scottie left in order to prevent the drive. I mean, maybe they just don't trust him. This is a trust issue too. If you trust Siakam to show and to close down the lane and to put his arms up and stop the Luka drive, then Scottie doesn't need to help over. If you trust it, Jakob obviously trusted it because he decides to get off of Luka. I mean, he saw that OG was trailing the play. You cannot trail the play on Luka Doncic. He will punish you for this. So really, shouldn't Pascal have closed out? Yes, he should have. Correct. That is exactly it. Because once Scottie decides that he's going to push in here, once Scottie decides that, okay, boom, this is the instinct, right? Scottie sees the paint, it's wide open. He needs to offer something. So boom, Scottie is there. Now, Luka is perfect. So he's drawn two to the ball. Siakam needs to accept that you have two defenders on the ball, somebody's open. And I'm going to show you how this works when Siakam's not on the floor. And you can see if it's just, this is the Raptors system defensively. You'll see how the defense works when Siakam's not on the court. But for now, just want you to watch how the defense is working with him on the court and how this is not working. This is a wide open. Like, you want to say this is on Schroder? Fine. You want to say it's Scottie's fault? Fine. You want to say it's Siakam's fault? Fine. Let's blame everybody else but the guy who didn't guard anybody on the whole play. Saying OG's job there is to rotate on who? You think because OG is trailing the play? I mean, this is a massive miscommunication on all sides. But if you think, yeah, you can make a case that it was on OG too. You can say right now that OG should rotate, but that's only if you are agreeing that Siakam is guarding Luka right now, which he's not. If Scottie doesn't rotate over, I guarantee you Luka has a freaking easy layup, right? Fair. Jesse's making a good point. The point is, if Pascal picked up anyone, the rotations would have been fine. Right. Like, I mean, every team has its own concepts. It's really hard once there's a breakdown of this magnitude with a player of this magnitude, what the coverage is supposed to be, right? So there may be an instruction on Scottie's end. Some of it is just instinct. Like, you have strong defenders. You should trust their instincts to some extent, but everyone's got to help the helper. And so, technically OG gets clipped. So Jakob shows on and he tries to deter Luka and sort of slow down his drive. But then obviously Jakob has to go out and rotate on the other guy because Grant Williams, I believe that's Grant Williams in the corner over there, he decided to space out. So Jakob can't completely leave him alone. But then on this side of the floor, you have one of the best shooters in the NBA, or one of the most talented players in the NBA, Kyrie Irving, who's just wide open. So, it's up to you to decide. All I'm telling you, though, is when we see the clips defensively, the Raptors second unit, I guarantee you Kyrie Irving is not open in those plays. And you will see the difference. Wide open. Okay, here comes. Now, I just want you to watch Pascal Siakam this whole play. That's literally all I want you to do. I just want you to focus on Pascal. So right now, can you make a case that the Raptors are kind of like playing some sort of zone on one side? It almost looks like it. No, right? This is not a zone defense. So Jakob does his job. I want to know how he got open. Can you, seriously watch this? Actually watch Pascal Siakam. Do you see Pascal Siakam on this play? Okay, watch him, because he loses his man. I think we can all agree at the beginning of this play that his man is Derrick Jones, right? Is there any pushback on that? Let me know. Good question. I would love to know too. Who are you guarding? Who are you guarding? That's what I want to know. Are you guarding a ghost? Are you guarding shadows? Like, what the hell is this? Like, oh. Okay, this is a play where the Raptors get a stop thanks to Jakob Poeltl. Here comes Pascal Siakam in transition, and he is going to pass early, which is great. He's going to pass to Scottie Barnes. O.G Anunoby is correctly filling, which is great. Scottie Barnes, what's he going to do? He's going to throw it back to Dennis Schroder. Now, Dennis Schroder probably should pass to Pascal Siakam right here. Boom. Great. And Pascal Siakam makes the genius play here of finding the open corner shooter, which is going to get OG Anunoby a drive. And it's going to actually reward Pascal. I think he's going to find Pascal. So important. If Pascal Siakam had stayed where he was, which he has many times, he does not have this pass. Because he gets out of the way, he allows himself to receive this pass. And I believe OG is going to make this pass. I hope OG is going to make this pass. It's the right pass. He should pass. Boom. Great. And pass to Jakob. Pass to Jakob. Perfect. That is great. Great offense. Great offense. No, I think to Michael Furlano saying pass Siakam just feels like he's not mentally there. That was a great play. Fantastic. You know why I'm rubbing my nose so much? It's because I'm allergic to my girlfriend's cat, and I feel like I have a sneeze that I'm trying not to sneeze. Okay, here Kyrie Irving gets a foot on Dennis Schroder. This is great defense, by the way. Schroeder's defense has been such a revelation for me this year. He's been awesome. Look at that freaking fantastic team defense. Scottie Barnes in transition, middle of the floor. This is exactly what you want. I think this is great. Look at this beautiful 3-on-2 fast break. I mean, really, it's 3-on-4 if you slow it down a little bit. Schroeder and Jakob Poeltl are two trailing the play. But because Scottie makes the pass to Pascal, Pascal makes a pass to OG, OG fills correctly, and Luka is the only hope for the Mavericks defense because he's the one who is the top of the key, who's the first to recover. The back end of your defense right now is Luka and Kyrie Irving. This is the easiest dunk of OG Anunoby's life. Unfortunately, he slows it down, but he ends up missing. And Pascal Siakam, because he was in the right place, right time, gets the offensive rebound. Luka Doncic does not box it out. And this is how Luka costs the Mavericks points. You know, I apologize. I continue to rub my nose. I don't know what is going on with me, guys, but I'm trying my best here. Give a like for my allergies. Okay. Give me a like for my allergies. I pray you will give me a like for my allergies. Thank you so much. Okay. More offense. We are over halfway through with this video, and we are an hour and 12 minutes in, which means so this is going to be around a 2-hour video. Okay. Scottie Barnes. This is a great pass. Jakob Poeltl cuts strong, but it gets cut off. And this is what I say when I say Scottie needs to be a lot more accurate with his passes. These are two of three really bad passes he threw. The idea is right. It's always right. Almost always right. But the accuracy of these passes has just been off all season. And here is a pass that he's going to throw to Otto Porter / Michael Jordan. He thinks Otto is Michael here. It was a really funny moment between them after. You can literally see him holding his head the minute he threw the pass. He's like, brain fart. You know, I totally messed that up. He immediately, said my bad right after, and they joked. But anyways, it was a you cannot screw up transition plays, and the Raptors screw up more transition plays probably than any team in the league, or one of the worst. They are one of the best transition teams in the league, and it boggles my mind every single game how often they screw up the easiest transition plays. Okay, here comes Gary Trent Jr. getting on the glass and really trying. He has received the message that in order to get more minutes, he needs to be a contributor on the glass because the Raptors are leaking oil on in terms of rebounding. I wonder why. Color me surprised. But yeah, he's been really good. So here comes Gary Trent Jr. in transition. We remember what happened the last time Gary Trent Jr. was in transition. So let's hope it goes a little bit better this time. Chris Boucher is doing a little bit of that Scottie Barnes thing. He's making the point. He's pointing to Malachi Flynn. Gary Trent Jr. is looking at Malachi Flynn. I wonder if Scottie's going to hold his head right now. Gary Trent Jr. decides, hey, man, you're Chris Boucher. Don't tell me what to do with the basketball. Okay. Dun, 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 dun. What should Kyrie Irving do here? Should you play him for the shot, or should you play him for the drive? You should probably play him for the shot because he's driving abysmally poorly. But let's see what Kyrie does here. Boom. He does play him for the shot. And now he passes to Malachi. And here's Chris Boucher. And Chris Boucher is like, this is my time. This is Chris Boucher time. Pensari Basketball said that we are that the Raptors are 2-0 in games that I don't play. I need one here. So I'm going to initiate post-ups like I'm Shaquille O'Neal. And he's just begging for the basketball. He's just like, put me in, coach. That's so funny. Chris Boucher is funny. He went 4 for 4, and I don't think he had a good game. I'm not trying to hate on Chris Boucher. I don't like the game. He took like really stupid shots, and they went in. I don't know what else to say. I think it was 1 good shot, 3 bad shots. Okay, so Gary Trent Jr. passes to Scottie. I believe Scottie is thinking of a dribble handoff for Otto, but it gets closed off. He picks up his dribble, and I'm pretty sure right now he's going to pass to Malachi. Is he? Aha! They find something even better than Malachi, which is Otto Porter setting a screen on Kyrie Irving. Scottie Barnes holding his man off. You can see both defenders are trying to get to Gary Trent, and they can't because Otto and Scottie are selfless teammates, and they're going to get you open. And they did here, and Gary Trent Jr. gets the easiest shot. OG and Scottie did the same thing for him in another play that we're not going to look at. It's almost the exact same thing. They set a double stagger screen for him at the top, and he gets a wide open shot. This was very good offensive process, in my opinion, for Gary Trent Jr. Here's another one. Here's Scottie Barnes setting a screen and holding it. Boom, bump, boom, open, boom, shot in. Does he get a screen assist for that? No. He does not get a screen assist. But the fact that he does things like that is why he is on this list to the Toronto media who do not want to care to pay attention to it, who are, writing little articles about small sample size. Bro, this is a basketball genius at 22, and he is doing 1,000 things on the basketball court, from filling lanes to cleaning up mistakes. I mean, when we see the defense, oh my God, we haven't even gotten to Scottie's defense yet. Wait till you see what he did on defense. But this is some of the stuff that he's doing on offense for you on an off night where he has like a 14, 7, 0 turnovers, 4, 2. Like, I mean, my God, if this was a bad game for Scottie, he's like an MVP candidate. Okay, let's continue. Another offensive play, this one being initiated by Malachi Flynn. I tell you, Malachi Flynn bringing the ball up the court, directing traffic, used to be the thing of my nightmares. Now, I'm excited. I'm excited to see what Malachi is going to do. Let's see what he does. Okay. Here, Chris Boucher. Same freaking play, but it's the same play. Tell me it's not the same play where Siakam did not set a screen. Am I wrong? Same play, right? You see that Siakam was supposed to set a screen for Barnes, but he didn't. This time, instead of doing it for Barnes, they're going to do it for Otto. Here comes. He rejects it. Goes the other way. Finds Scottie wide open. Fakes. Maxi Kleber. Now, I want you to watch Chris Boucher on this. A smart teammate would go to the corner and widen the angle, because there's no way in hell, as good as Maxi Kleber is as a defender, that he can stay with Scottie Barnes. Once you find an advantage like this, because this is not the defense's preferred matchup for Scottie Barnes, clearly Scottie is the best player on the court for the Raptors. He's the leading scorer for the team. Ideally, I mean, I don't even know if this is their desired matchup, but this is not a good situation for the Dallas Mavericks defense to have Scottie Barnes isolating one-on-one against Maxi Kleber. And the only way to stop this is if Chris Boucher decides to get in his way and initiate a post-up right now because he thinks he has an advantage. He did this 100 times. He's done this 100 times already this year, and I can't stand it every time players do this. Pascal Siakam did this 3-4 times yesterday as well, sometimes in transition. You cannot do this. Offense cannot work when players do this. And, this is basically Chris Boucher just and this is forcing a bad shot for Scottie because Scottie doesn't have another angle. He cannot attack here. You could say he'll attack, but then it would be a less efficient shot because now he's attacking. It's almost like Chris Boucher is playing for the other team when he does things like this. So you need smart players around him. I really hope that, okay, let me choose my words carefully. I don't think you can play Chris Boucher until he learns how to play basketball. Is that really harsh? Yeah, probably. He plays all out. He's super hard. He rebounds. He crashes the glass. He just does not know what to do on offense. He almost never knows what to do on offense. And it is staggering to me how this guy is a professional basketball player who does not know how to read this situation and say, okay, I need to clear out. I need to go do something else. I need to go set a screen for a screen on Otto's guy so that Otto can come up and we can create some sort of, movement over there so Scottie can isolate on this one-on-one. Like, I mean, this is a matchup that you want, right? Maxi Kleber is a center. I mean, granted, he's a pretty mobile center, but that's Scottie Barnes on Maxi Kleber one-on-one with no paint defense. You have drawn the only paint defender on the team, I believe, out of the paint. But he gets 2 points here. And this is what I mean. Okay, here comes defense. Oh boy, this is going to be bad. Okay, let me get into screen setting very quickly. In order to set a legal screen, here are the parameters. I'm going to make myself big on the screen so you can see me excessively scratching my nose. My God, man, this is really this is freaking me out. Like, my nose is completely red right now. I don't know why it's so itchy. Okay, this is going to be the Rob scratches his nose 55 times live. I don't know what's happening. Like, maybe it's because there's like a little bit of cat dander here. And every time I bring the mic close to my nose starts tingling. I don't know what's going on. Anyways, so in order to set a screen properly, you need to be upright. Number one, like, to some extent, you need to be upright. Your shoulders and your legs pretty much need to be square. So you can't be like dangling your leg out. If you do dangle your leg out and the other defender does not trip on your leg, you get away with it. If the defender trips on your leg, basically the rule here is you cannot impede the offensive player's movement unless you are set. Now, other things that you cannot do. If you are setting a pick from behind on a defender, on an offensive player, you must give them a step. Okay? So if you set a screen behind the offensive player, you cannot be right up to them. You have to give them like a step. They have to be able to step. If you set it from the side, you can go right up to them. So basically, if the offensive player and the defensive player are standing still and the screener wants to come and just go right into the defender to free up the offensive player, you can do that. There are a lot of illegal screens in the NBA that don't get called because, people don't milk it. People don't, people recover. You can establish after you set. So there can be a little bit of movement provided you are straightening yourself out. Maybe I need to pull up examples of illegal screens and legal screens, and that will be more helpful than me trying to describe this while I'm, going through whatever I'm going through with my nose here. Okay, let's go into the defensive tape. The tale of two defenses. So the defense was horrible for the Raptors to start this game. Absolutely atrocious. That was an incredible block by Scottie Barnes. We're going to go into the process by which he got this block, but first you're going to just see some defensive highlights. Here's a little bit of defensive brilliance from Scottie. Look how high he got up on that. Watch Pascal Siakam on this play. Who is he guarding? Fair question, right? Who is Pascal Siakam guarding on that play? Okay. So Pascal is in the middle of the floor. He's doing eagle arms. He's got his arms out. You can make a case that he's guarding Grant Williams here. Scottie goes 2 to the ball. So Siakam has to react here. He has to switch over. Now, you can say that if Gary wants to switch over, but then he's leaving number 8 right in the corner wide open. This is on Siakam. I don't care. You can say, oh, it's Scottie's fault for double teaming. Yo, that's Luka Doncic on Dennis Schroder. Your defensive scheme is to send a double. That's the problem with players like Luka and Joel Embiid and real superstars is they force double teams. I feel this is a Pascal Siakam mistake because Pascal is guarding absolutely no one here. And if there is one player that possibly could recover to Grant Williams, then Siakam needs to communicate that. Like, if you want to make a case that he's guarding Grant, then Scottie's got to switch over here to number one. I don't think that's the case here. So, oh my gosh, I just lost my place. My bad. Hang on. I got to find it again. What have I done? Oh, you silly, silly goose. Now I need to scrub and find. Okay, that's offense. Okay. There we go. It's even hard to say, like, who is supposed to rotate. I think that's Chris Boucher that's supposed to rotate over. He just gets there a little bit late. Good effort, just bad scheme. Okay, so back to this play. My God, this is nuts. I don't know what to do. Does anyone have a you saying he is guarding Grant? Is he right now? Okay, perfect. So how are you supposed to communicate? Like, are you saying that Gary has to guard both players? Because once Luka breaks this double, someone's got to recover. Like, once he gets rid of the like before he gets rid of the basketball, you got to recover. I feel like if this was a different defender, not Siakam, they would be sort of splitting the difference between Grant and number one. So that's just, maybe I'm wrong, but I think this is just low motor, low basketball IQ, and then boom. So Gary does the right thing, closes out to the basketball. Pascal Siakam, he's going to close out to this player. Strong contest, but very late. And this is probably going to be a 3. Yeah. That's going to happen a lot. Okay. This is Luka breaking a double of Pascal Siakam and O.G Anunoby because it is at the wrong angle. Okay. This nose thing is just really driving me insane here. Okay. And Luka just gets straight to the basket. Like, that's depressing, honestly. Okay. Here is Dennis Schroder. I think Dennis Schroder's defense was something of, like, very inspiring. Now, once again, I want you to watch Pascal Siakam on this whole play. Okay? He's right there, number 43. Just watch him. So right now, the last thing you want is to lose Derek Jones Jr. And the second last thing you want is to surrender inside position to Dwight Powell. You have done both here. Okay? The job of any defense is to close off angles and to close off shooters and to close off, like, good offensive options. Can you realistically tell me this is good defense? I know there are, like, some Pascal apologists here who swear he's doing the right thing. He's not. This is not. You have surrendered without any, push. You have given a clear advantage to the Dallas Mavericks right here, as the rest of your team is, like, fighting for their damn lives, trying to stop Kyrie Irving. Here you're giving not only a wide open shot to Derek Jones Jr., but you also have surrendered inside position, rebounding position to a very good rebounder in Dwight Powell. Like, and if Kyrie wants to lob it up to Dwight Powell right now, so much of the defensive process comes down to what the defense didn't do, right? So yeah, so I'm saying, like, he keeps ball watching. Hell yes, he does. Like, right now, if Kyrie Irving lobs it up, if Kyrie Irving takes a shot, you're not in offensive rebounding position because most likely Dwight Powell is going to get the ball if it comes off right. If he passes to Derek Jones Jr., you're not in position to recover, which clearly you're not going to be when we play this clip out. And if he passes to Dwight Powell for a dunk, you probably are forcing Jakob Poeltl to pick up a foul. Like, this is just, it's just terrible defense. I don't know what else to say. Okay, we have yesterday's live where I was very sleepy and today's live where I just can't stop rubbing my nose. I don't know what's going on with me, man. And he forces a miss. So, as I say, sometimes you have bad process and good results. Sometimes you have good process and bad results. That was bad process, good result. Okay, here comes defense. Okay, so worth noting. This is bad process, good results again. Okay. You have to know that if you miss this gamble, right, you're gambling right now. You're gambling that a guard who is not like the worst ball handler, you're not pressuring a center in the middle of the court here. You are gambling that this guy is not going to blow right past you. And your only insurance behind you is Dennis Schroder, who is not a paint protector. So this is a very, very bad gamble that pays off. So here you go. This is Pascal Siakam. He manages to poke the ball loose, and Dennis Schroder gets it. As I said, sometimes you're good, sometimes you're lucky. This is luck. This is bad process. Okay. Here comes offensive rebound for O.G Anunoby. Boom. Luka Doncic just pokes it loose. Okay. Now watch Pascal Siakam here, because he needs to change ends right now. And he's a gazelle, right? He's a very fast player. And I need you to watch how he sprints back on defense. I'm so sorry, guys. Like my allergies are killing me right now. Wow. Okay. Like I've never had this happen to me before, so I apologize. It must be very obnoxious. Thankfully, I'm very small on the screen, but like it must be obnoxious to see someone just furiously rubbing their face. But so another bad attempt. Kyrie Irving, you have to know who you're guarding. Kyrie Irving is the best ball handler probably in NBA history. I don't even think that's a stretch to say that. You are not going to force him to turn over the ball. And Dennis Schroder makes a gamble that, unlike Pascal Siakam's gamble, does not pay off. And now here you have Scottie Barnes off the screen, who has decided that he is going to, be the backline of the defense because Jakob Poeltl is not able to come back. If they manage to stop this play, guaranteed what's going to happen is Jakob is going to race back to the paint. He's going to tag Scottie. If Scottie has a post up or something like that, maybe they'll switch. So right now, really the job is stop Kyrie Irving and stop Derek Jones. And once Dennis Schroder gambles on Kyrie, which is a bad gamble, so that's mistake number one is from Dennis Schroder, who was pretty much great on defense for the most game, but this was a mistake. It's on Pascal Siakam to make up the difference here. This is called helping, somebody who's screwed up, or helping the helper if you want. I don't really think that's helping the helper, to be honest. It's just helping, playing good defense. Now, if he wants, I think Pascal Siakam can recover this play. I think he can get back into this play. I don't think it needs to be 2-on-1 against Scottie, but unfortunately, Kyrie Irving is okay. Here we go. So now Scottie is facing a 2-on-1, and Dennis Schroder is gone out of this play. He's not going to be able to recover. So right now, Scottie and Pascal need to communicate who's got ball. Unfortunately, they both got ball because they both focus on the basketball, and Derek Jones Jr. is going to cut right behind, and Pascal Siakam is going to do absolutely nothing about it, and Scottie Barnes cannot stop it either. So this is just to give you a closer view of this. Are you going to tell me Pascal Siakam could not get back into this play? Does that look like a guy who's sprinting? Does that look like a guy who's jogging? It's not up to me to say if he's jogging or sprinting there. What the heck happened here? Sorry, guys. I don't know what the hell this play is, but hopefully the rest of it is not like this. Okay. Don't even ask me why the hell this is completely, cropped off. But this is another instance of Pascal Siakam not reading the play. Yo, you want to make a case that this is on somebody else? Fine. Let's stop saying it's Pascal Siakam. Let's just pretend it's the Raptors defense. But I assure you, these things were not happening when he was not on the court. You can tell it's his man because of his reaction when he catches the ball. He's like, oh, wait, right, that guy. Now, Scottie's going to stunt towards him, but he can't leave him. He can't completely leave his man. Grant Williams is a shooter, and he's a corner shooter. So really, this is on Siakam. He leaves Derek Jones Jr. open. Boom. And you can just see Scottie's face. Like, what the hell? And yeah. I think this is a closer view of this. Who is Siakam guarding here? I mean, I know he's in the paint, but who is he guarding? Is he guarding Kyrie? Is he like... No, he's not guarding Kyrie, because once Kyrie came towards him, he's like, oh, no, 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 no. No, no. This is not defense. What the hell is this? I'm sorry. That's just bad defense. Here's some more bad defense. Now he's going to gamble. And he's going to go past the play. Now, this happened a lot last year. This was a old instincts, you know. They want strong closeouts because they don't want to give up corner threes. Fine. I get it. You know, no chop stepping. Fine. You want to drive past, you want to jump past the defender. Fine. You know, you don't want to jump into the defender and then give 3 free throws. I get all that. What I care about is, what do you do once you're beat? Do you find another player to rotate to? Do you try to trail the play and offer some resistance from behind? Do you do anything? Or do you just kind of hang out once you're beat? In the case of Pascal Siakam, he usually just kind of hangs out once he's beat. That's Pascal Siakam just hanging out once he's beat. Doesn't do shit. Now, this is just a great rebound by Scottie. Now, they missed that shot, but not because of Pascal Siakam. He runs this guy off the line. He closes out completely out of control. Fine. I don't think he needed to control, jump out of control like that. But once you have been beat like this, you need to recover back into the play. You cannot just take possessions off on defense like this. I mean, this is the type of shit we were seeing from Luka Doncic in the first set of clips. Like, not Pascal Siakam, who is a good defender in theory, should be able to guard better than this. How many times do you need to tell a teammate what to do until you just stop wasting your breath? I mean, I think that's basically it, right? I think the other teammates have just registered that he's not going to defend, and they're just making up for it. They're playing 4-on-5 defense a lot, okay? And once you identify that you have basically a pylon, you have to basically play like Damian Lillard's teammates play or Trae Young's teammates play. But I don't think you understand how hard his teammates are having to play to cover for him right now. Now, he has like 6-7 plays every single game where there's something very impressive that he does on defense. Like, he'll stay with a point guard or he'll force a deflection, or he, might get his single block. I think he's had 1 block the entire season. Like, he might have a very disruptive, loud play, but the average defensive possession for Pascal Siakam has been like this all season. Who's he guarding? Who is he guarding? That's what I want to know. I just want to know, who's he guarding as I struggle through these allergies. That's all I want to know. He's guarding nobody. Like, what the... I'm sorry, what the hell am I watching here? Look at this. Just look. Tell me if that was any other player. Are you kidding me? That's Luka freaking Doncic. He's averaging 39 points per game. That's not... Like, how can you... Like, I understand how OG gets clipped. Okay. But you notice once OG gets clipped, he doesn't just give up on the play. He's still trailing the play. He's trying to offer. He's too far behind. You have to help him. Now, what are you going to say? It's on Scottie. Scottie should help him right now. No, Scottie's doing the right thing. Scottie is realizing that Luka and Jakob are trying to deal with OG. So Scottie's thinking ahead by thinking, okay, let me just get out to Grant Williams. Now, who is Pascal Siakam guarding? Because I know he's not guarding Derek Jones Jr. He's wide open, like he was all night. And he's supposed to, I guess, help on Luka and force the pass, which I guess then would cause Dennis Schroder to close out to Derek Jones as Pascal Siakam breaks out to Kyrie Irving, but we all know he's not going to do that. What the hell is this? If you told me this was on purpose, I would freaking believe you. That's the point. Now, to the media members out there who last year, you were criticizing Scottie's defense because he was getting beat point of attack when he was going through ankle stuff. He was never this sorry on defense, bro. He was never this sorry. And you guys called him all sorts of shit. You said he was not trying on defense. You said he was quitting. You said he was bailing. Oh, believe me, content creators out there, I heard you. So call this out, okay? Because this is 100 times worse than anything you saw from Scottie last year, okay? This is ridiculous basketball. This is ridiculous defense. Who's he guarding here? See, I know Scottie is guarding the back line on defense. His blocks, 2 blocks a game, tell me that. What are you doing? Now Scottie's going to stunt. Then he's going to go to the corner. Now Scottie's going to be like, okay, I can recover. Scottie's thinking Grant Williams right now because he knows Grant can shoot. And he knows Grant Williams well enough to know he can shoot. Someone's got to stop Derek Jones Jr. here. And that someone is Pascal Siakam. Don't try to gaslight me and tell me that this is on Scottie. No way in hell. This is on Pascal. Okay? Scottie can offer help. But this is 100% on Pascal to stop this drive. What did I just watch? If you told me this was a joke, I wouldn't, like, I can't believe what I just watched. Watch it again. Bro, like, there are pylons and then there are turnstiles. You're not even a pylon. You're a turnstile right now on defense. Jesus Christ. That sounds Scottie should have used Shadow Clone Jiu-Jitsu. Shadow Clone Jitsu and been in 2 places at once. That's funny. Jones traveled. Hold on, let's see. Did Jones travel? So it's on the referees now. Okay. 1, 2, dunk. No, he didn't. Sorry. I would love to tell you this is on the referees, but that's purely on Pascal Siakam. Now look, Scottie Barnes. Look at the urgency with which this man is going to recover out to Kyrie Irving. Okay. Just look at this freeze frame of him. Just if you want to see who's trying, this is a guy who's trying. Closes out in control on one of the best ball handlers in the league. Okay. Notice that when he gets beat, he continues to pursue, which is good defensive process. Now, he's not thinking, hey man, if I quit on this play, Otto got my back. No, he's thinking, that's my man who just beat me off the dribble because I closed out a little bit recklessly because I was a little bit late. Let me continue to try to help. And he's going to continue to pursue this. Otto offers just enough help there. It's a score, but they did try. You know what I mean? Good defense is going to get beat by better offense all the time. I'm not saying it was perfect defense, but man, the effort is there. Everyone's trying. Okay. Now here, another play where everyone's trying. Look at Malachi look at his high pickup point. Look at him trying to keep his arm out. He's trying to prevent the pass. Like, this is great. Look at Gary getting over that screen. Bro, look at Gary pursuing here. Tim Hardaway can't even shake him. This is great defense from the Raptors. Congratulations. I promise this video is going to end on a very high note. Now, this is Tim Hardaway Jr. setting a screen to get Kyrie Irving open. And look at Malachi trying to get around that screen. Look at Chris Boucher, just pressuring, adding some sort of, pressure onto Maxi Kleber here. Now look at Gary. Now, technically, Gary has lost his man for a second here. He pursues. And that's an illegal screen. And Chris Boucher pursues. How many players had to try so freaking hard on defense to create that stop? And the Mavericks got away with an illegal screen. Facts. Okay. Look at Gary just coming into the ball. making it a little bit harder on Tim Hardaway Jr. Not the most natural ball handler, but, he's trying. Look at Otto pursuing high. Boom. Everyone's in their defensive stance. This is defense that is clicking and working. I want to remind you, you don't have two of your best defenders on the court right now, which is Jakob Poeltl, technically a good backline defender. You do not have O.G Anunoby, okay? And this is defense working. You are technically covering for three not so great defenders in Gary Trent Jr., Chris Boucher, and Malachi Flynn, none of whom are world beaters on defense. I could argue that Gary Trent Jr. is outright a liability on defense and Malachi is an outright liability on defense, but these guys are trying. They're trying so hard. And you have two extremely positive defenders who are able to cover up any leakages, but you have to try. So here's Otto up top. Look at Gary. He continues to pursue his man. He's not going to lose Tim Hardaway Jr. Look at Otto. Look at Chris Boucher. He cuts off the pass. Look at Malachi Flynn. Now here comes the screen for Kyrie Irving to get open, and Malachi and Chris Boucher have to navigate this. How are they going to navigate this? Look at Malachi pursuing. He gets around the screen. Look at slide. Malachi is on skates right now against one of the best ball handlers in the league. And look at the pursuit level. Look at this beautiful defense. Look at the pursuit. And look at Scottie Barnes reading this entire play. Get the fuck out of here. That is great defense. But it does not work if Malachi does not do his job, if Chris Boucher does not do his job, if Otto does not do his job. It doesn't work if it doesn't work on a string. This is great defense. This is team defense. Yeah, sure. Scottie gets the block. He's part of it. But he didn't do that by himself. He had four teammates, Gary, Otto, Chris, and Malachi, who all did their job. And at the end of it, you got a block. Okay? Now look at Scottie pursuing, getting clipped. So Scottie gets clipped on a pick by Kleber here. Kleber gets away, he does a little nudge, he gives him like a little hip check. So Scottie's going to get clipped here. So technically, Scottie is in the same position that Pascal was in a few times, right? In some of the clips we looked at. He's pursuing the play from behind. But here's the difference. Scottie actually cares. So he's going to continue. Look at the rear contest. Take notes, Pascal Siakam. This is what you need to do. He manages to get his hand just in, without fouling, very careful, in Tim Hardaway Jr.'s face. And they force a miss here on a really good shooter. He's a shooter. That's the scouting report. Tim Hardaway Jr., that's a shooter. You got to contest. You can't just leave him. Derek Jones Jr., you made him look like a freaking all-star. Insanity. Okay, here, transition defense. Okay. Now, technically, you're out of position right now because someone has lost 42, Maxi Kleber, but Otto realizes they recover. Notice that without Pascal Siakam, everyone's got a guy. Everyone's guarding somebody. Do you notice that? You don't have anybody just kind of hanging out in the paint guarding absolutely no one. That's not happening. You're not having people just roam through the paint and not get a little brush. I wanted to show this entire stretch of basketball in the early second quarter because it featured no Pascal Siakam. And I wanted you to see what this team actually looks like when he's not on the court defensively, because it is pretty freaking impressive. Okay. Here. Now Kleber is going to set a pick. What does Otto do? Switches. Does the defense really get an advantage out of this? The whole point of setting 200 plus screens every single game is just trying to force mismatches, right? But between Otto and Chris Boucher, you're not really forcing either one of those guys into a mismatch there. So the screen is pointless. They can just switch it. Now here, Look at Scottie kind of communicating that the pass is coming to number one. Now look at Gary, continues to pursue, gets around the screen. Scottie, they go 2 to the ball. Now look at Scottie. He knows that Tim Hardaway Jr. is open. And he knows that Gary Trent Jr. is supposed to get to Tim Hardaway. Look at what he does. Just watch this. He shoves him. He shoves him. Just in time. Perfect. Now, that's not shade on Gary Trent. It can happen to anybody. The point is, he continues to pursue. Now, watch this. He continues to try to poke at the ball, which I'm okay with, as long as you're not fouling, right? But all of this ball pressure that they're putting, making this guy uncomfortable, disrupting his rhythm, forcing him into maybe doing something that he doesn't want to do, is going to result in something awesome, which is Scottie Barnes. Typically, the best time to double a guy is when he's about to turn his head. Scottie times this perfectly. Boom. There goes. There's your steal. All that ball pressure applied by Gary. It worked on a string. Watch this again. Watch this again. It doesn't work. If one person doesn't do the right thing, this is a collapse. Okay? So it works. Gary has to pursue. Now you can make an argument that technically it was Scottie who shouldn't have, if Gary got around the screen, then Scottie should be the one tagging. But Scottie, okay, he's going to correct the mistake right now, and he's going to send Gary over to Tim Hardaway. Tim Hardaway Jr. is going to, and again, Chris Boucher is in position right now to help. If there's a drive, look, I want you to watch Chris. Because Chris may not have like the greatest offensive awareness, but just look at his sort of like defensive instincts. Look at how much Chris Boucher moves on defense. As the offense moves, Chris Boucher is timing the help. Watch it. Watch Chris Boucher on this. Look, Chris Boucher and Otto on the other end. So just kind of like don't watch the ball too much, but like watch on the other side of the floor what Otto, Chris, and Scottie are doing. Long guys, all 7 foot plus wingspans. Scottie 7'4", Otto 7'1", Boucher 7'3". These are huge defenders, and they all have long arms, and they can basically like stretch out their arms and cover the court. So this is Gary just applying. Look at the other 3 defenders. Just watch them. It's like, it's beautiful to watch, man. It's really freaking awesome to watch great defense. And look at them all moving on a string. It's like Raptors. They're moving like Raptors. They're hunting in a pack. And Tim Hardaway Jr. is their prey. Okay? And every time he moves, they're adjusting themselves. They're re-angling themselves. This is what alert, good defense looks like. And it's going to work. Watch. Because every time the defense moves, and look at how Chris Boucher reacts. Now, technically, they are closing off the passing angle because they have wide arms. But if anything that Tim Hardaway Jr. is going to do out of this right now, he doesn't have a pass to the corner. If he passes out to the top, it's not going to generate enough of an advantage. They're kind of just trapping him in the corner because they're waiting for him. And this is the pounce. Defense, this is the pounce. You have a guy who's not necessarily the greatest ball handler, not necessarily the greatest passer. This is how you attack him. I used to love watching Bill Russell old tape because he was the one defender that I used to think attacked offensive players. Defense is often reactive. I think Bill Russell was a proactive defender. I think Scottie is a proactive defender too. I think OG can be a proactive defender as well, even though he can be sometimes reactive. This is very proactive defense. Watch it. Boom. Beautiful thing. You change ends super fast and you go right into transition off of this. Malachi's going to push the break. Scottie filling correctly. Boom. Now, right here, mistake. Maxi Kleber is a very good defender in the paint. He has recovered. Maxi Kleber is probably, I think, the second best defender on the team. If you're Scottie, you need to pull up. You need to do a pull-up jumper, or you need to pass to Chris Boucher, or you need to reinitiate this offense. This is a bad idea here. If you can't get around him, maybe he thought he could. He misses. So not the greatest. And you can see Otto Porter in the corner, wide open. Could have also found him. So not a great play from Scottie Barnes. I think he just needs to read the scouting report, to be honest. Look at Malachi here. This is Kyrie freaking Irving. I cannot tell you how impressed I am with Malachi Flynn for this entire performance. Like, this is not like, if I could think, like, I'm a little bit shorter than Malachi and Kyrie, but if I could think of the last player on earth that I would want to guard other than Steph Curry, it would be Kyrie Irving in terms of point guards. It's just a nightmare. Like, he's so strong, he's so good with the ball. You're never going to poke it loose. Like, he has you on a string. He's so manipulative, and he can shoot. Like, my God, like he's a nightmare to deal with. And look at Malachi. He's sliding around, and look at this beautiful process defensively. And look at everybody moving on a string. So Otto recovers out top, and Scottie immediately goes over and covers his guy. Like, it's this entire defense is moving on a string, and it's beautiful to watch. Look, boom. I will remind you to please hit a like so that I can, I don't know, so this video can blow up and I can go and afford some Claritin, because clearly my nose is going crazy right now. I feel like this Raptors defense is attacking my nose. Okay, look at that contest by Otto. You know, like, arms up, great job, forces the miss. Now look at this communication. Look at Otto communicating where Malachi needs to go on defense. And look at Scottie, already in the paint, planted, trying to draw a charge. Puts his arms up. Boom. They stop. You stop the man. That's the perfect thing. Now, someone's got to rotate out to the corner. Gary Trent Jr. has fallen sort of out of bounds. He's out of the play right now. Gary Trent is kind of taking a defensive possession off. And you're going to see right now what happens when a player takes a defensive possession off is the defense that is at a bit of a disadvantage. But luckily for Gary Trent Jr., when you have players like this on your team, you often have heroic moments like this, where Chris Boucher comes out of nowhere and blocks the shot. This required a lot of players to work together to cover up for one defender falling out of the play. That is the type of pressure that Pascal Siakam's lack of defense puts on your team the whole time. Okay, here we go. Transition. This is Chris Boucher saying, I got man, I got ball. Boom. He's going to continue to pursue him out to the corner. Look at Scottie. Just arm up, reads this play the whole time, gets a deflection. It's going to be a steal. One of his 4 steals on the night. Great defensive instincts. And just attempt. You have, like, I mean, for Pascal Siakam, my God, 7'3" wingspan. You're a 6'9" guy. You're twitchy. You're fast. At once upon a time, you used to play defense really well. Like, you could do this. You can probably guard even better than Scottie. You just have to try. And you're not. And that's confusing to me. Look at Gary Trent Jr. pursuing around the screen for Maxi Kleber. Look at Otto Porter, 30-year-old, apparently constantly injured Otto Porter. Look at, this, where the pass is going to go out to Maxi Kleber. Look at the pursuit by Scottie. Look at this intense pursuit. And look at the pursuit here by Chris Boucher. And they both close in on him. And look at the contest, and that's a block. So I guess I wanted to show you a little bit of the Raptors defense with and without Siakam. And I don't really care what the numbers say, because I'll tell you one thing that numbers miss, which is how much more a team will exert themselves to cover for somebody. There are players that are notoriously bad defenders that have very good defensive analytics. This is why we say defensive analytics are weak, because they don't capture individual performance very well. They can capture, lineup data very well. Like, 2 guys, 3 guys, when they're on the court together, this is really good defense. But in terms of individual defense, it's very difficult. How do you even chart it? How do you calculate it? So, okay, thank you so much, man. Well done, Rob. Chris did a good job there. I agree. Yeah, so my takeaways from this is I haven't had a single game this year where I have not had a problem with Pascal Siakam's defense or his box outs. They have been bad. And yeah, you're playing with great defenders that are overexerting themselves to cover for you. And I think so much of Scottie's, pursuit yesterday was so inspiring. His backline defense was so great. Malachi's defense was incredible. Luka's defense was also abysmal. I think the Mavericks offense, had they figured out where to go to, they could have attacked Siakam every single time. But, the Raptors are really learning how to play 4-on-5. They've been playing 4-on-5 defense. They've been boxing out 4-on-5. Do not even talk to me about his 12 rebounds yesterday. A lot of them were right place, right time. I know what proper defensive rebounding looks like. I know what guys boxing out looks like. I've been watching every single game, slowed down. I'm watching it. So to these smart people out there, who continue to insist that, he's doing a great job on defense, you're not watching the film. And I'm going to keep doing this until you correct your stance and you call him out on it. I don't care if at this point, I don't even care about the trade value thing. Yeah, there was a part of me that was just like, oh my God, trade value, trade value, trade value. What I don't want to happen is what happened with Fred VanVleet last year. And maybe you can accuse me of having Fred VanVleet PTSD, because Fred VanVleet had been leaking oil defensively and kind of conserving himself a little bit, I think, in terms of point of attack stuff, because he knew he needed those legs for offense because his shot wasn't going. And he knew that the offense was what was going to get him paid. He knew that he needed to average just 20 points, 8 assists, whatever numbers. So I think he, we can say it was his hips or whatever, but I think he conserved himself a little bit on offense. Scottie took like harder assignments on defense, guarding point guards that he had no business guarding because they were super small and quick, and he's trying to get around screens with a bum ankle and he can't. And he's getting chastised by the media because Fred is basically calling out his younger teammates. And I'm watching all of this as the Raptors continue to have a mediocre to above average defense for most of it. And I'm just like, man, OG and Scottie are busting themselves as Pascal Siakam is hanging out in the back doing a lot of the same shit that he's doing right now. And Gary is pursuing, his steals, but really it's 2-on-5 on defense all the time. And that's when I thought, wow, this team would be so much better if they played with guys who were, and I mean, you're watching it right now. Dennis Schroder is not some great defender. Historically, he's been an average to above average defender, but he's not some great defender. You didn't bring in Drew Holiday, but look at how much better your defense got from, Fred VanVleet, because he's pursuing the ball. He's just being in the right place, right time. He's, applying some pressure, and that's helpful. He's not giving complete blow-bys. And I think right now you're covering a lot for Siakam. I fully believe that if you had a young Otto Porter, let's just say not this version of Otto, 30 years old, but if you had a healthy 24-year-old Otto Porter, you would probably be the second best team in the East right now in place of Pascal Siakam. That's the gap. That's the gap right now between a guy who's never made an all-star team, but was just a really great 3-and-D guy. So keep that in mind if you're thinking of trading Pascal Siakam for something, that if you can just get a young Otto Porter to put at that 4 spot, you would have probably a top 3 defense in the league. Did you see that guy saying if Scottie's 3 ball goes in, he can be a Aaron Gordon type? And that's not what he said at all. Actually, he said that he is already like an Aaron Gordon type, but Aaron Gordon doesn't hit threes like Scottie Barnes. I think Aaron Gordon is not a playmaker that Scottie Barnes is. Aaron Gordon's a decent player. Scottie Barnes is currently playing like a top 10 player in the NBA. There are levels to this. 13-game Bargnani was good by Andrea Bargnani standards. He was good. He was not this good. He was not even close to this good. So I just think that the more these people talk about basketball, the more they expose how little they understand about basketball. Anyways, I am going to go get some Claritin for my nose because, I think this microphone is just covered in cat dander, and maybe I just need to clean it off. But yeah, this has been insane live. I think I've itched my nose 500 times. I'm going to watch this later and be like, wow, insane. Anyways, thank you so much to the super chat here, Kevin. Thank you so much for the super chat. Really appreciate it. And thank you all for watching. I would really appreciate if you like this video on your way out. And yeah, follow us on Twitter, follow us on Instagram. Make sure to hit subscribe on this one, and I'll catch you guys later. It's your cat's toy. No, this is not my cat's toy. I mean, I keep the microphone up here, but unfortunately, my girlfriend has set up the cat's litter in that closet, literally. So the cat is around here a lot, and I don't understand. Like occasionally, I will, I don't know, touch something that the cat has been, touching, and I'll start to feel this itching of my nose. Like I am for sure allergic to this cat, but I also love the cat, so I continue to live with my allergy. Um, that cat's gonna have to go up for auction. That's funny. Oh, Chewy. Okay. Um, the cat is named Chewy after Chewbacca. Malachi stayed composed and sat on defender. Yeah, man. Malachi was probably, apart from Otto, Scottie, OG, I think Malachi was like my favorite player of this game. Like that's a really far cry from this guy's not an NBA player to straight up saying like, man, if someone tries to read my body language, they're gonna be like, this guy just lied the whole thing because he kept touching his nose. And typically when people touch their nose, it's a sign they're lying. But I promise you this time it is not. Anyways, trade the cat. I will trade the cat. I will trade the cat for sure. I will trade the cat for a defensive upgrade on Pascal Siakam. Anyways, y'all just sycophants. I don't know what Jay Beaming is saying. Not denying his mistakes, but you can't put all the blame on a dude just because I know more ball than you and your family combined. I'm sorry, who are you talking to? Are you talking to somebody that I can't see? Oh, you're talking to... Sorry, I'm trying to understand where the hell this conversation started. Oh, his rebounding fully was luck. Are you crazy? Go watch every single rebound that he grabbed and tell me when he actually boxed out. Like, are you crazy? Like, what are you talking about, bro? Like, look at his rebound rate. It's lower than any point in his career. Like, there's a reason for that. I'm happy for him. He had a good game yesterday, but please don't conflate it. Don't mix it up. He is still on the season, despite having 2 solid games, had abysmal games across the board other than 2 games. We played 8 games so far. He's had 2 okay, good games. They're like average games by his standard last year. So the 2 games that he had that were good are average, and the 6 games that he's had are somewhere between well below average and worst games he's ever played in his life. So please understand that your metrics are not lying to him. Your highest paid player currently, I don't think has registered a single win share yet. Are you kidding me? I looked at the analytics the other day. Here's a player who's outperforming Pascal Siakam, Cason Wallace. He's a rookie. Here's another player who's outperforming Pascal Siakam, Onyeka Okongwu. He comes off the bench. Hold on. Let me honestly, if I gave you a list of like the 125 players in the NBA that are outperforming Pascal Siakam, I think you'd have a real pause on how bad this guy has been. I hope he can turn it around. I didn't hate his offense. I actually liked a lot of things that he did on offense. It was smart. It was quick. He attacked. He had some really impressive possessions in terms of like playmaking. But man, his defense and his compete level on defense and on the glass has been abysmal all year. And I keep hearing people say it's because he's guarding higher up. Because he's guarding higher up in the defense. He's guarding more guards. Scottie's more hanging back. Yo, I think I just showed you like 10 clips where he's not higher up. He's not guarding anybody. So it's very difficult to defend what he's doing out there right now defensively. Okay. So anyways, chill out on knowing more than anyone's family. I don't think you know more than my 3-year-old nephew. Okay. Yeah. Anyways, rebounding, defense, compete. This is all effort. This is effort. Okay. So anyways, the man started slow in a new offense. We haven't even played 10 games yet. Okay, I'll see you in 2 games. Like, what are you fucking talking about? Started slow in a new offense. This is what happens when you watch too much bad content, is you lose perspective on reality. What does boxing out have to do with a new offense? That's what I want to know. What the fuck does that have to do? What is guarding your man? What is rotating? What is competing once you've been beat? What is pursuing the ball from the rear? What do any of these things have to do with a new offense? I would understand. Look, man, like, I mean, he played well in the preseason. None of this shit was an issue until we got into the regular season. So No one talking to you, bro. No wonder your channel doesn't grow, you arrogant. Well, let's see. We have gone from 0 subscribers to almost 6,700 in a year and a half. So I would say it is growing, and thank you for coming by. But yeah, like, I mean, yeah, you might be one of, I doubt you're a subscriber, but I mean, I'm trying to not be very antagonistic with people, but you're being very rude to other people, and I don't know if you're being rude to me, but you certainly don't know as much about basketball as you think you do. How would Mikal Bridges fit on this team? Oh, insanely well. Oh, so freaking well. I think you would have to, unfortunately, in that case, slide OG or Scottie down to the 4, but like, my God, like, he would be great. The GOAT channel already has more subscribers than you. Yeah, he's a friend of mine. Yeah, I was, I think, his second subscriber. He's awesome. Not trying to compete with Goateology, man. Anyways, all right. Talk to you guys later. Have a good one. And yeah, try to disregard the last 10 minutes of banter with this lunatic. Yeah. Okay. So I think you're gonna get booted in 3, 2. Hold on. No, you are being rude. You're being a bit of a dick. So let's say peace. And you're gone. You're gone. Okay, peace. Now I can just imagine you like trying to like smash your laptop right now at home. Okay, have a good one, guys. Enjoy. And maybe if I have some time later, I will go and clip out like all of the parts where I'm scratching my nose. That's going to be impossible. So maybe I'll just clip the part where I'm talking to this guy. Anyways, talk to you guys later. Peace.